I fucking love Zoe, and you should too. It is one of, if not the best, New World arc, with the small caveat that Wano will probably be better when it is fully finished. Hi, welcome back, and today I'd like to talk about what makes Zoe an incredibly impressive arc on so many levels in the long-running series of One Piece, both for Zoe's incredibly short length and its unique story structure. The closest comparison that I can draw to Zoe is Sabaody Archipelago. It also sets up a large number of future plot points. Sabaody starts up the supernovas and Kuma, while Zoe sets up Whole Cake Island and Wano. They both have their unique aesthetics, with Sabaody featuring bubbles and Zoe featuring its elephant. However, Zoe does succeed in ways that even Sabaody doesn't. Zoe is more of a story than Sabaody, where Sabaody has no formal conclusion or victory, as it acts as almost entirely set up and leaves with no plan in place for the Straw Hats, whereas Zoe has a formal conclusion / victory against Jack, and somewhat more of a complete story. And when the Straw Hats leave Zoe, they have a plan in place for defeating Kaido. And at the end of both, Sanji ends up in a bright, flowery wonderland that he absolutely despises. In order to rationalize what sets these two arcs apart from any other, I've come up with an arbitrary ratio of the progress that an arc makes compared to the length of episodes that it is. Progress is my own discretion, and this is not about quality. There are plenty of great arcs that do not make a lot of progress in the vast story, but are great on their own, like Fishman Island or Drum Island. But let's look at a couple of arcs that do move the story forward quite a bit. Alabasta introduces Ace, Crocodile, the Seven Warlords, Vivi, the World Government, Robin, Ancient Weapons, and Poneglyphs. All sorts of stuff is introduced in Alabasta. I would give it a 90 progress out of 100 in only 39 episodes, giving it a rating of 2.31. Water 7 and Enies Lobby introduced CP9, Robin's backstory, Frankie the Thousand Sunny, the post-Enies Lobby reveals of Garp and of Dragon, and the iconic I Want to Live moments from Robin. I'd give it 100 progress. It does more towards the overall story than Alabasta did, but it does it over 97 episodes, giving it a rating of 1.03. Thriller Bark introduces Moria, Kuma, Nothing Happened, and Brook. I'd argue it only makes about 20 progress in over the course of 45 episodes, giving it a rating of 0.44, and Sabaody has 70 progress over 21 episodes, giving it a rating of 3.33. I justify that 70 progress with Sabaady's introduction of the supernovas and the variety of other things that happened in the extremely short time on Sabaody. Marineford, the king of this list, features literally every character but the main Straw Hats, Whitebeard, and Ace Dai, and it has Blackbeard's big reveal with the double Devil Fruits. I think it's the one thing we can give higher than 100 progress, giving it 150 over 33 episodes, giving it a monumental 4.55. Dressrosa has the Doflamingo backstory, it angers the Yonko of Kaido and Big Mom, Gear 4 is introduced, Law is developed, and his backstory is introduced, Doflamingo is defeated, and we meet the new Admiral Fujitora. I'd give it 90 progress over 118 episodes for a rating of 0.763. Finally, we get to Zoe. It has Raizo, it sets up Whole Cake Island, it sets up Wano, the revolutionaries are attacked and move islands, Jack and Kaido are introduced formally, countries prepare for Viviri, Carrot is introduced as a potential Straw Hat, Odin is revealed, and the Road Poneglyphs are revealed. Now, it is emblematic that as I wrote the list for Zoe, I kept forgetting things and having to re-record this. I'd give it a 90 progress, same as Dressrosa, but over 29 episodes instead, giving it a 3.1. The first thing on our list that tops that number in the New World. And I did rank every single arc that was more than like 2 episodes. It's just that in this specific situation, Zoe and Dressrosa are the most emblematic of this issue. But why does this matter so much? Well, Sabaody, Marineford, and Zoe, as the ones above 3, feel like they are making tangible and important progress in the series at every single moment. Whereas other arcs do move the series forward, they consistently had things that just don't matter as much to the overall story. And that means that people are more likely to be burnt out by those arcs than they are by Sabaody, Marineford, or Zoe. Have you ever heard anyone say, yeah, I dropped One Piece in Sabaody, or I dropped it in Marineford, or I dropped it in Zoe? No. You know where you hear people drop it? You hear them drop it in the lower arcs on this list. They might think Enies Lobby's fight was just too long and boring. They might think that Dressrosa was simply too much content. They might think that Thriller Bark was just a side story that didn't do much to the overall story. You see that in the stuff that gets higher ratings on this, more stuff is happening towards the progress of the world, whereas the stuff that gets lower rating is more frustrating because it feels like it's not part of the story to nearly as much of an extent. The second reason I absolutely adore Zoe is that it has a unique plot structure. Think about your standard One Piece plot structure, alright? They arrive at a new island. They explore for a little bit. They find a bad thing that is happening. They learn about that bad thing. They find that there is a bad guy doing that bad thing, and they fight that bad guy. Eventually, after like half the arc has passed, they defeat the bad guy and wrap things up very nicely. But the best moments in this series are the ones that create a derivation from this. Think about it. Alabasta is excluded because it is the first arc to use this structure. But the main moments that make us love One Piece later on are from deviations in this structure. Water 7, a bad thing happening is caused by the crew members instead of by a direct evil force. Robin and Usopp's tension allow for the series to feel like it is fresh and new. Thriller Bark's ending deviates because things are not wrapped up quite so nicely. This same idea that things are not wrapped up so nicely applies to Sabaody as well. What about Marineford? The bad guy is less clear because there's so many people in this war, and there's no time for exploring. And Whole Cake is an escape instead of a defeat, which is drawn out too much, but that's not part of story structure. Whole Cake's escape feels like a unique fight within the series, even as Luffy has to go fight Katakuri, because his goal isn't to destroy Katakuri, it's to get away from Katakuri and give his crewmates time to escape. But Zoe deviates from this structure more than any other arc in the series. Think about it, all the deviations that occur. One, Sanji's team arrives earlier, so it is a unique introduction to a location because less exploration is needed by our main Straw Hat crew. The bad thing in Zoe has already happened. Sanji's team didn't even get there before Jack had completely wrecked Momoko Dukedom. And we see that fighting the bad guy does not solve the issues because the issues and the bad guy exist in Wano. Tension isn't really built from the bad guy even, but from tensions between supporting characters. The biggest tension in the entire arc is Kinemon and Kanjuro having to stay hidden, and once they arrive in the middle of the entire Mink tribe, we are prepared for a fight to occur, but instead, a plot twist resolves this tension, instead of just a fight. And the finale, instead of a celebration, is laying plant. Yes, Jack is defeated, but it's not done directly by the Straw Hats, and the end of Zoe lays out the future of the series for more than half a decade afterwards. I hope that after Wano, what we see is more short, unexpected arcs like Zoe. I want there to be a time when the Straw Hats are back to exploring and back to finding new places that aren't a major destination. Zoe is so good simply because it manages to be both a side destination and a key aspect to the future story, and I adore it for that. After Wano, we're probably gonna see some big arcs like Elbaf and like Lodestar and like Laugh-Tale, but I hope that between these large and important arcs, we see some arcs that matter in the way that Zoe mattered. Not because a big evil enemy is there that will shake the entire world to its core, but that matter for our Straw Hats, and that matter for the people living in whatever island we arrive at. Anyway, thank you for your time. You'll notice that the audio has improved pretty significantly. That's because I bought a real microphone, because I needed one anyway, so it's good to actually sound like a real human being, and not like I was going out of a laptop microphone, which I was in my previous video. And yeah, I'll probably keep making videos. I did enjoy editing this one as well, and I really do hope that you appreciate it as well. If you like it that much, feel free to subscribe. If not, don't, and see you later.